Good day, Attorney Baluma. My name is Mayra Lagrosas, and I am here with Mr. Joseph Ace Lagurin to discuss our assigned case, um, the case of People of the Philippines versus Joseph Solamilio Amago and Cirilo Molongaita Vendiola, GR number 227739. So in this video, I will be summarizing the facts and identify the issues, while Mr. Lagurin will be discussing how the court or the Supreme Court ruled in this case. Now, what happened in this case was a checkpoint was conducted along the South National Highway where somewhere in Dumaguete, where two motorists in the person of Amago and Vendiola, the respondents of this case, were blocked by the police officers on duty because, according to them, they noticed the respondents seemed to be rattled and then executed an abrupt U-turn, enough for the police officers to believe that they have committed traffic rules violation and or delivering or transporting something illegal. Well, according to the prosecution, the driver intentionally slumped down his motorcycle, lifting the t-shirt of Amago. The police officer enabled to see in plain view a loaded handgun caliber .45 pistol Colt with no license tucked in his waistband. When asked for the license and permit to carry on the said pistol, the respondent cannot provide any. In the same manner, the police officer also confiscated a knife from the passenger, Vendiola. The police officers recovered and seized other illegal items such as a holster, a cell phone, money, another load of magazine, an improvised tutor, and a strip of aluminum foil during the body search of Amago and Vendiola. The said utility box of the motorcycle was also searched by the police officers, and they recovered 6 elongated heated sealed transparent plastic sachet of shabu. The prosecution said that both of the accused were apprised of their constitutional rights during their arrest. However, the accused pleaded not guilty and denied all the allegations against them. They argued that the arrests and searches were illegal. According to them, they were not informed about the arrest and the charges against them, which violates their constitutional rights. They also asserted that the evidence, the shabu, was planted by the police officers. They claimed that the prosecution failed to prove the fact of delivery or transport of the seized illegal drugs to another person, that the presence of dangerous drugs inside the motorcycle should not be construed to mean that it was intended for delivery. There were 3 issues to be resolved in this case. First issue is whether or not the evidence seized from the accused is a fruit of a poisonous tree, and then the second is whether or not the RTC erred in convicting the accused appellants despite the failure of the prosecution to prove the elements of the crime charged. And then the third is whether or not the RTC erred in finding the existence of a conspiracy in the instant case.
Now that the facts have been discussed, let us go now on how the court rendered its judgment on the case. There are 3 issues raised by the accused appellants. The first issue is whether or not the evidence seized during the search is a fruit of a poisonous tree. So what does this doctrine mean? It concludes that evidence obtained from illegal arrest, search or seizure is not admissible in court. But if we look into the evidence of the prosecution, it shows that there was an In Flagrante Delicto arrest, which falls as one of the exceptions where a peace officer can arrest a person without a warrant. The record shows that there was an abrupt U-turn of the accused instead of stopping at the checkpoint. When the accused slumped down the motorcycle, the accused's t-shirt was unintentionally lifted, causing the handgun to be exposed in his waistband. The other accused was also seen to have a folding knife from his pocket. These overt acts are evident proof of a valid warrantless arrest. Consequently, the seizure of the items was also legal because it was a search incident to a lawful arrest. One contention here is whether all items confiscated, including the shabu found in the utility box, are admissible as evidence. The rules of court states that a valid arrest allows the seizure of evidence or dangerous weapons, either on the person or the one arrested or within the area of his immediate control. It is also worthy to note that the chain of custody has been properly observed by the police officers. On the second issue, the accused argued that the prosecution failed to prove that there was an actual transportation of illegal drugs. The court did not agree. It was proved that there was an actual conveyance of drugs from one place to another. The fact that a shabu was found on the motorcycle suffices to support the finding that the act of transporting was committed. A special law also provides that the act of transporting a prohibited drug is malum prohibitum, regardless of criminal intent. Moreover, it must also be emphasized that both the accused tested positive for the use of illegal drugs. Now down to the last issue. The accused contends that there was no conspiracy in transporting the said illegal drugs. The court was firm on its decision that there was an agreement of the two accused in committing the crime. The fact that both were found to have carried a firearm without a license and a weapon, and both were also positive in the drug test, made solid evidence that there was an active participation and moral assistance by the accused in committing the crime. Therefore, based on the foregoing, the court sustained the conviction of the accused on the illegal transportation of dangerous drugs.